Billionaire dreams. I know niggas who played ball and gave it up for lean.
Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams, but my account in overdraft, I'm about to scream.
Rich man greed,
a poor man prayers.
Every man bleeds,
but look how God made us.
Too many losses, it's only right that we win. Yeah, I made a promise I'm never gonna lose again.
Under the Fair Use Act, these videos are for information and educational purposes, and I do not own the rights to any of these videos that are shown. All rights reserved to the original content creators.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy SL550, and this is the Never Gonna Lose Again podcast. Today, man, we're gonna talk about a few different things going on with this DC shooting. Get more details on the victims in this shooting. Also, who was the shooter. Finding out who the shooter is. And, hold on, let me turn this up. All right, there we go. So, finding out who the shooter is. Jeanine and Kash. I'm going to play this first. I'll give it some detail. Then we're going to tap in with, hold on real quick. Okay, we're going to tap in with Liberal High Mind. Oh, yeah. We got the healthcare fraud. Yo. Major numbers, major fraud going on. Just remember I said in the previous videos, bro, all they want to do is rob us, right? It's one of the things I always say. And that this is just one situation. So now we got another one to add on to all of these situations that are coming out with big fraud, big stealing, big schemes, big scams going on in the government, being exposed on a daily basis, bro. On a daily basis. Liberal High Mind, going to talk more about that. And then we're going to tap in with probably LV Nation to talk about, hold on. Because Trump had this, he had the, I don't know if I'm going to play that. Honestly, I don't know if I'm going to play that. We're going back and forth. But, all right, let's get into this first joint with Jeanine and Kash, talking about this whole DC shooter. Before we start, though, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Also, hit that notification bell so you get notified every time your boy go live. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Let me reload this. Okay. All right, let's get into this video.
Thank you all for being here on this difficult day. As you know, my name is Jeanine Pirro. I am the United States Attorney for the District of Columbia, and I am joined here by several individuals who represent agencies who have been working around the clock since this horrific event happened. To my left, we have the director of the FBI. We have General Leland Blanchard of the National Guard. Mayor Bowser is here as well. We have Frank Saldana of the DEA, Chris Hecht of DHS, Executive Assistant Chief Jeffrey Carroll of the MPD, Darren Cox of the Washington FBI Field Office, and a Special Agent in Charge, Samuel Ward of the ATF in Washington. Now, I want to provide you with an update on the tragic shooting that occurred on two brave members of the West Virginia National Guard as they served in Washington, D.C. Unfortunately, today, as most families join together to give thanks for the blessings that have been bestowed upon them, two families are shattered and destroyed and torn apart as a result of the actions of one man. First and foremost, our hearts go out to the victims and their families. These are dedicated service members who were performing their duties in service to our nation, and they are currently in critical condition. They have undergone surgery. We pray for their well-being as they continue to be cared for in the best possible way. We have been in constant contact with their families and have provided them with every resource needed during this difficult time. The two National Guards men that we're talking about are Sarah Beckstrom, who's 20 years old, and Andrew Wolf, who is 24 years old. They were uniformed members of the West Virginia National Guard, and they were in D.C. to keep D.C. safe, pursuant to President Trump's executive order to make D.C. safe and beautiful. They answered the call. They took the charge. They volunteered. They put their lives on the line for people they don't even know. And that, unfortunately, is becoming a reality more and more for the members of law enforcement. Yesterday on Thanksgiving Eve at approximately 2:15, near 17th and I Streets in the northwest section of the district, near the Farragut West Metro Station, 2 uniformed guardsmen were ambushed in a brazen and targeted attack. A lone gunman opened fire without provocation, ambush style, armed with a .357 Smith & Wesson revolver. One guardsman is struck, goes down, and then the shooter leans over and strikes the guardsman again. Another guardsman is struck several times. Fellow guardsmen who were there responded immediately, engaging the suspect, neutralizing the threat, and subduing him at the scene. He was transported to a local hospital where he remains, as we speak, under heavy guard. Thanks to the swift and coordinated response of the National Guard and the Metropolitan Police Department, no additional victims were harmed, and the scene was secured within minutes. The suspect, he has been identified as Ramanullah Lakanwal, a 29-year-old Afghan who entered the United States under Biden's Operation Allies Welcome, a program following the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Bro.
He resided in
we was just talking about the national security risk of all of these illegal immigrants that came in the country, bro. So it's like, bro, you don't be knowing what to think when these situations happen, to be honest with you. There's so many different angles, everybody coming with it, so much information. But, it ain't surprising, bro. When you let people come from these different countries, a lot of them are not allies, let's be honest. So you got people that come here under Joe Biden, don't know who they are. They're just here. So I wouldn't be surprised seeing more of this happen within the next 3.5 years, or 3 years, while Trump is in office, man. It's gonna get crazy, bro. All to cause chaos. They know what they doing.
Bellingham, Washington, with his wife, and we believe 5 children. And we're working very closely with our federal partners, especially DHS and the FBI, to review his immigration history and the vetting process itself. What we know about him is that he drove his vehicle across country from the state of Washington with the intended target of coming to our nation's capital. As we stand here today, the charges that are appropriate right now are 3 counts of assault with intent to kill while armed, a violation of D.C. Code 22-401 and D.C. Code 22-4502. He will also be charged with possession of a firearm during a crime of violence. He faces 15 years under the assault with the intent to kill. We intend to continue monitoring what the charges will be, depending upon the well-being of the guardsmen. We are praying that they survive and that the highest charge will not have to be murder in the first degree. But make no mistake, if they do not, that will certainly be the charge, murder in the first degree. The Department of Justice, under Attorney General Pam Bondi, is committed to a thorough and an impartial investigation where we will hold this perpetrator accountable under the full weight of the law. Now, Sarah and Andrew volunteered. They came here to protect the people of the district, pursuant to a crime emergency that President Trump rightly declared.
So we want to see what Kash is talking about. Let me see. Probably going to say more of the same.
And my remarks the same way, with prayer for our fallen soldiers, prayer for our law enforcement community, prayer for our National Guardsmen and women, prayer for our brave prosecutors at the Department of Justice and the offices of the D.C. United States Attorney. We must come together as a nation, especially on this Thanksgiving Day, and remember the sacrifices that so many are making around the world and around this country to secure our freedoms under President Trump's brilliant leadership and administration. I'll provide an update on the case as follows. It is an ongoing investigation of terrorism. Make no mistake about it. The FBI is leading out on these federal assault on a federal law enforcement officer investigation on many fronts. We immediately, with our law enforcement partners in the Metropolitan Police Department and the interagency, secured the scene, seized the weapon, sent in our evidence response team immediately to collect evidence, and started doing block by block canvasses. We are looking for and interviewing witnesses. The firearm and other materials have been sent to our Quantico laboratory already yesterday for immediate analysis. That work is ongoing. Partnering with the D.C. United States Attorney's Office, we have also executed multiple search warrants around the country to include the subject's last known residence, which is in the state of Washington. The search warrant was executed on that house.
Hey, yo, they not playing. The way they doing the rounds. They coming for everybody, bro. They getting everybody out. And to be honest, you can't even be mad, bro. It's a national security risk having all these people here, bro. And not knowing, especially their intentions. That's the whole point of going through why shouldn't it be a strict process for you to come into another country? Especially people are seeking refuge from countries that aren't our allies. And even the allied countries don't necessarily mean the best for Americans. So no matter how you look at it, this ain't their culture. This ain't their land. They ain't never gonna love it like they own. So these things that happen, I mean, this is why the process has to be strict for people to come into any country, not just America. I'm pretty sure it's hard to get in every country, bro. You got to learn languages. You got to learn the language. You got to learn to love the culture. Probably, I know men, I think men have to, like, sign up to go to war and shit. I don't know if they do that here in America, but it should be like that. Because if not, stuff like this is going to happen, bro. But also, you know how it is with the government, dog. You don't be knowing what you don't know what to believe, bro. They be lying and shit. You don't even know if what they saying about this whole situation is going to be real, or is it just a tactic to go ahead and blow up some shit somewhere. Who knows? We're going to see what's going to happen, because whatever's going to happen is going to happen anyway.
Last night or early this morning, and it is an ongoing process. All the individuals found in the house have been interviewed, and some interviews remain ongoing. We will not stop until we interview anyone and everyone associated with the subject, the house, and every piece of his life. There's also subject interviews, relations conducted in San Diego, pursuant to our ongoing investigation. So, as the judge noted, this is a coast-to-coast investigation being led right here in Washington, D.C., and this subject definitely did pick the wrong country. And we will rise together as a nation to show the world what we do here. And we are thankful that we have the Attorney General's brave leadership and President Trump's brave leadership and priorities to safeguard our communities. I also spoke to Director of the CIA, John Ratcliffe, last night, and Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. There is confirmation now that the subject had a relationship in Afghanistan with partner forces. We are fully investigating that aspect of his background as well, to include any known associates that are either overseas or here in the United States of America. That is what a broad-based international terrorism investigation looks like. We will provide continuous details to the American public while at the same time not jeopardizing the ongoing prosecution to ultimately hold this perpetrator accountable in our courts of law. We will provide as much transparency as possible, but as you can see, the breadth and scope of this investigation will continue. We will continue to hit the streets and hit every town and every house and talk to every witness. The men and women of the FBI and the Metropolitan Police Department and the interagency, to include the Department of Homeland Security, DEA, and ATF, are
all right, so it's just a lot more just talking point shit. Let's move on from that. Let's have him with LV Nation. He was talking more about this, got more details with Trump and everybody that's involved with this whole DC shooting. My bad. Let me rewind that.
We must now re-examine every single alien who has entered our country from Afghanistan under Biden.
So he plays highlighted everything that's going on between Trump. I wanted to just set the tone with that video with Jeanine and them because they actually on this whole case. Well, let's see what Trump and them talking about.
And we must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here or add benefit to our country.
So this CNN analyst right here, ladies and gentlemen, John Miller, who is the chief law enforcement and intelligence analyst, here he is having to flat out tell his audience where this shooter came from. And again, we have big news about the victims who were shot. It looks like one of them may not make it as of the updates that we have, but we will see exactly what happens. But he had to get on CNN to give an analyst, and here he is basically going through the part where this guy, who again is an Afghan national, where he's from, how he came, where he's been staying, how did he get here, and this story just takes a crazy turn. Also, there is a uprising narrative now that the mainstream media and liberals are trying to use against the Trump administration about granting this guy asylum. But here we go. Let's actually go to what the details are because they are disturbing.
Here it is. What do you know?
Well, this individual appears to be from Washington State. It appears that he immigrated here into the United States in 2021 as part of the operation to bring Afghanis who had worked with or assisted the United States government over into this country as Afghanistan was beginning to fall.
So on some H-1B visa type shit. He came here acting like an ally. That's what they're going to do, though. It's risky, bro. It's risky, especially doing it with, bro, they said this guy's from Afghanistan. Obviously, America is not too far removed from Afghanistan. So who knows what was going on in Afghanistan? But this guy obviously has some type of shit going on. Let's get more details on it, but god damn.
Special
They just
immigrant
be
visa
letting
program,
anybody in
SIV
the
program.
country.
Right, exactly. This was
crazy.
the Allies Welcome Program. He applied for asylum under that program and was granted that asylum in April of this year, although he's been here, it appears, since 2021. So that sets this in a place where the FBI is going to be looking at what was the vetting that was done prior to his arrival here. When he settled in Washington, what has been his activities here in the United States? What brought him to Washington? How long has he been there? But it's going to give them a better direction at this point as they try to get from who is this individual, which they believe they've established, to what is his motive. Now, a number of motives could come up there. One could be that he was disenchanted in the United States. Another could be that he was angry at the U.S. military or felt betrayed and came upon people in uniform when he traveled to Washington. Or it could be something altogether different.
So again, we got big breaking news there as he's realizing, hey, this is bad. This does not look good. The program was launched to resettle Afghans around the time of disastrous withdrawal. So that was the program. And there is more coming out, even CIA involvement here that the Trump administration is looking at. But the big story here is the fact that he was granted asylum. And he came in 2021. Now, Trump has been calling since that time that all these people be vetted, that these programs be stopped. And let's actually go to what's been going on, because a lot of liberals, they've gone and said Trump granted this guy asylum. He granted him asylum in April 2012. He granted him asylum. Well, here's the real story about this. And this is where even the CNN host knows this. Read the bottom line. Let's read the bottom line as to why his asylum was granted. And I remember the story earlier this year. The U.S. court blocks Trump administration from revoking Afghans' protected status, which is the same protected status that he.
So that's why a judge blocked it. Like they try to block everything else, bro. Trump got to kill the filibuster, bro. And and get the things that he's trying to get done. What's the sense of winning an election, winning a House, winning a Senate if these rogue judges and fucking Democrats can just put roadblocks in your way and stop you from doing anything that you're trying to do? Like, this is crazy. Just think about how much smoother things would be. These incidents like this that maybe wouldn't have happened altogether if Joe Biden didn't let all these people in the country. But even if, bro, why are they trying? What's the propaganda? You already lost the election, and y'all ain't doing nothing but making things worse for yourself for the midterms and the upcoming election in 2028. So I don't get why they're doing this stuff. They better off regrouping, teaming up with Trump, getting some things done, and hope for the best come 2028. This stuff is crazy. You actually, this is the plan. It's just cause a bunch of chaos and bullshit. I just don't see the benefit in any of this stuff. Like, so if this judge doesn't block, Trump's administration for revoking Afghans' protected status. So if they never blocked this guy wouldn't even have been here. What the fuck?
Was pretty much that he just made about the Somalis in Dearborn, Michigan. So more than 82,000 Afghans had been evacuated after Taliban's takeover and were allowed a temporary parole. A U.S. appeals court has for now blocked the Trump administration from removing the temporary protective status of thousands of Afghans in the United States, court documents showed on Monday. An administrative stay on the termination of temporary protected status for Afghans will remain until July 21st, and U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit said that in order of granting a request from immigration advocacy organization CASA. So the group had filed a lawsuit against the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, to challenge the terminations of temporary protected status for Afghans and Cameroonians announced by Trump administration. So remember, Trump was trying to get ahead of this curve. Apparently, the argument here is that Trump was trying to get ahead of the curve, trying to end protected statuses for people that may not have been vetted. He felt that this may need to have happened, and then a court decided to block that. And now, after this happened, many people on the left are saying, well, Trump granted him asylum. But in fact,
like, they know this, though. They know the story. They know the judge blocked it. But once again, and I don't see how this helps him, because it's not like people aren't going to see this article, man. Like, bro, that's I don't.
That's not really the case. Here is a Trump update. Here's a huge Trump update right now. Trump says that every single Afghani brought under Joe Biden will be re-examined. And again, a lot of these arguments you can make that he is battling the lower courts and the courts, period, right? A lot of courts have made decisions against the Trump administration for these temporary protected statuses, a lot of the things that he wants to do. You know, that's why a lot of people said that we are in a crisis when it comes to judges and courts and what they're blocking. As you can see, James Comey case was thrown out. Letitia James case was thrown out when they were being investigated. So a lot of these things are happening, ladies and gentlemen, and you can get blocked. So here we go. Here's Trump's announcement about this.
We're not going to put up with these kind of assaults on law and order by people who shouldn't even be in our country. We must now re-examine every single alien who has entered our country from Afghanistan.
Hey, yo, just think about the things I think about, like all the resources that are going to this whole situation already. Just getting rid of these illegal immigrants in the country. We probably talking about hundreds of millions, if not more, of money just doing that. Then you got to deal with, ICE doing their job. Now they got to bring the National Guard in or bring some type of other task force to help them so they can get the job done. More resources. People out here protesting, messing up this city. People got to come in and clean shit up. More cops got to get paid to be out here in this one particular area for no reason. All of these resources being spent just like, bro, this is how much these people want to ruin this country, bro. It's out of control, bro.
Stand under Biden, and we must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here or add benefit to our country. If they can't love our country, we don't want them. America will never bend and never yield in the face of terror. And at the same time, we will not be deterred from the mission these service members were so nobly fulfilling.
You have it. Trump says that they must all be re-examined, while other people say that they should just be deported. We have no idea who's here. We have no idea what's even going on. That's why Trump, again, was making the case to end protected statuses, because he felt that there was too much tension around the world, especially with the damage that had been done. J.D. Vance came out and said that he predicted this. He predicted that this would happen. Excuse me. He has a very important video I thought we should all watch, because he made a good point. One of the points that I really, really do agree with is when he spoke about this, I think in 2021, he spoke about this in a long time ago, like 4 years ago. And he made the point that how can we allow, look at this. This is what he said. He says, we're not vetting Afghan refugees properly, and we need to stop bringing tens of thousands into our country. Anybody who tells you otherwise is full of it, because you have these people who, again, are from Afghanistan, where we spent so much time doing I don't know what, CIA doing I don't know what. And you guys know what I mean when I say I don't know what. So you got all these people that probably hate America, probably hate what happened in Afghanistan, probably had family members who were, you guys know, I am not the biggest fan of what we've done to the Middle East all these years. And then you go and you start bringing people abroad that grew up hating America, most likely because of the history of this country and what we've done.
But you see, keeping it real, though, you can't deny they've been over there in Afghanistan, though.
Done to the Middle East,
who knows
what George Bush and all these people did to the Middle East, right? What Obama did to the Middle East. And then you bringing them inside of the country and you don't think they're going to eventually do something about it? That is the argument that J.D. Vance is making. Is he right or is he wrong? But I also have a video I want to show you from him.
I see that Senator Ben Sasse went on national TV yesterday and attacked me for suggesting we should focus on getting our own citizens out of Afghanistan rather than the Afghan refugees. And he said great countries honor their word. Of course, nobody disagrees with that. It's a ridiculous platitude. The question is not whether we honor our word. The question is, who have we made promises to? Who do we owe an obligation toward? And to any leader of this country, the obvious answer should be American citizens. So let's focus first on getting them out of Afghanistan before we say another word about the Afghan refugees. Now, Senator Sasse also said that he would welcome the Afghan refugees to his neighborhood with open arms. That's very sweet of him. I'm sure a lot of liberals will say very nice things about him because he said that. But the question is not whether we help the Afghan refugees. The question is, first, how do we do it? And second, how do we do it in a way that doesn't destroy our own sovereignty? So let's have an honest question about what exists in Afghanistan. According to Pew, 40% of the people there believe that blowing yourself up, committing a suicide bombing, is an acceptable way to solve a problem. So yes, let's help the Afghans who helped us, but let's ensure that we're properly vetting them so that we don't get a bunch of people who believe they should blow themselves up at a mall because somebody looked at their wife the wrong way. That is not real leadership. Real leadership is accepting the trade-offs of the situation, putting our own citizens first, and not dealing with fake platitudes because it gets people in the media to say nice things.
So again, J.D. Vance makes the point that, yeah, we should help the people in Afghanistan that helped us, but we should properly vet them. There's a story that just came out. And again, this is a lot going on, ladies and gentlemen. I want you guys to pay very close attention to what's really happening here, because this is the real story. The real story.
That video from J.D. Vance was for a couple years ago. They've been talking about this. This ain't nothing new. So these people have been in the country already 3 years, possibly even 4, but definitely 3 years. People have been in this country plotting, scamming, all types of shit.
Is that this guy apparently breaking, this is coming from Benny Johnson, the Afghan national terrorist who shot members of National Guard near the White House, worked with CIA as a member of a partner force in Kandahar, Afghanistan. So he was one of the helpers.
What the hell?
Or was he? What's the real story here? Urgent. Lara Logan says the CIA is behind this and what happened. And by behind, that they are fully responsible.
She asked it as a question, though. He said it kind of wrong, but she's saying, is the CIA behind this? Being as though I guess this guy's associated with the CIA. Yo, this shit what the hell? Shit just got deep out of nowhere.
We got a lot going on, ladies and gentlemen. Developing news, developing stories. How was this guy not vetted? How many of these guys?
Hold on. We got to go back. Did he say, what did that say? What did that post say? Hold on. I got to go back and see that, bro. Am I bugging? Said urgent. Is the CIA behind the murder of 2 U.S. soldiers near the White House? Did they direct? Hold on. It says, did they direct, orchestrate the act of war? Take a close look at the gunman's ID card below. ACC to this. What's that say? Hold on. ACC? The fuck? I'm not sure what's that at. I don't know what that stands for. So this is, he was a member of the Condor Strike Force, a CIA-backed paramilitary unit. He's one of theirs. Yo.
What's the real story here? Urgent. Lara Logan says the CIA is behind this and what happened.
What the hell? What's this say down there? Holder is working in conjunction with something Afghan and U.S. Armed Forces. So he was one of the guys who were, when they was in Afghanistan, he was helping them. But this is CIA, though. It's not like he was a soldier acting as like a soldier. What the fuck? Yo.
And by behind, that they are fully responsible.
And they were already saying something about, that whole Sedition 6 video that, that was CIA, the guy Brennan, trying to, let me find out this.
So we got a lot going on, ladies and gentlemen. Developing news, developing stories. How was this guy not vetted? How many of these guys are in this country that do not like this country?
Was he vetted?
Because that is a huge topic. And a lot of people will say, oh my God, you're a racist. Why would you say that? Many people were talking about this from the very beginning, including Tucker Carlson, who again, he said this. JD Vance said this. They said, we're just letting people in. We're letting a whole bunch of different people in. Well, what is happening? Or I'll give you guys another one. And I don't want to get very conspiracy theory with you guys, but a lot of people are screaming and waving that flag saying, you know what? This is chaos coming into America under the Trump administration. Or so they're working against them, or that they're planning things and they're activating things. And so that's part of the narrative on X. There's a lot of narratives on X. I just want to give you guys the facts. I don't want to jump into crazy conclusions, but the flag is being waved, ladies and gentlemen, if you know what I mean. So here is Tucker Carlson giving a breakdown. I want to play this video to close out this video as a whole, because Tucker said this 4 years ago. And again, who shared this video? JD Vance. Take a listen.
Well, 4 years ago, they've been talking about this, and now this stuff is happening. Yo, what the fuck?
So we know a lot of Afghan refugees are coming here. How many exactly? Where are they going? How are they being processed when they get here? We have answers to some of those questions tonight. Here's what we've learned from government sources. Dulles Airport right outside Washington is a main welcoming site for flights landing at all hours of the day filled with Afghan refugees. As of this morning, just under 3,700 men from Afghanistan have been processed at Dulles. One recent flight landed there with nearly 200 evacuees. Homeland Security officials are currently discussing opening similar sites at other airports around the country. DHS has also been soliciting volunteers to staff its processing centers overseas. They're currently...
Yo, bro, look at this. You don't know who these people is. They just driving these people right into America. Hop off the bus. Here goes some money. Here go whatever. And these, you can't make this up, bro. If this is not active treason on Joe Biden and his administration, that means Kamala Harris, all of them. I don't know what is, bro. Because how do you do this? How is this? This is crazy, bro. I guess you could say it's legal because obviously they're going to pass some type of legislation, some type of program that they're going to disguise it and say, oh, we did this under this program. It's supposed to help these people. It's helping most of them. There's only one bad apple. Yo, bruh.
Only 3 of those that are vetting refugees in Bahrain, Qatar, and Germany. The administration is planning to open 4 other overseas processing sites. DHS's goal, it says, is to process 10,000 refugees every day at many of these overseas locations. So we reached out to DHS for comment on Friday. A spokesman there said that they are, quote, working around the clock to ensure individuals are screened against U.S. government databases prior to arriving in the U.S. and upon arrival. These are the people who had no idea the Taliban were going to take Kabul in a weekend. What will happen? Well, their attitudes, a lot of good people, but are very different from those of most Americans. A new poll by Pew found that 99% of Afghan Muslims support, for example, enacting Sharia law. So many Republicans in Congress have no problem with this at all. In fact, some of those want us to evacuate Afghans from Kabul before we get all Americans, citizens, out of the country. One of those Republicans, not surprisingly, is Ben Sasse of Nebraska, the single guiltiest white man in America. Sasse said over the weekend that we need to take in as many refugees as possible because America has given its word. He didn't say to whom. J.D. Vance is putting a finer point on that. He's running for Senate from Ohio. He joins us tonight to respond. Now, I don't mean to attack Ben Sasse, but there is this kind of mode of communication that a certain sort of person uses to communicate that rather than explaining why it's in the interest of the country to do something, they just sort of attempt to seize the moral high ground and then lecture you because they have unresolved emotional problems themselves. How do you respond to Ben Sasse's claim that we have a moral obligation to do this?
Well, I'm happy to attack Ben Sasse, Tucker, and if folks want to help our campaign, by the way, they can go to jdvance.com. But look, Ben Sasse speaks in platitudes. There's no substance in what he actually says. So he says that we gave our word. Well, who did we give our word to? Where is this contract that says that we have to take tens of thousands of poorly vetted Afghan refugees at the height of chaos? The person who made that contract, who signed that contract, would be a terrible negotiator. I know that Donald Trump didn't do it. Did Joe Biden do it? Did somebody else do it? Because we should be putting the interests of our own citizens first. And
something that they don't do, bro. They don't do that, bro. They haven't been doing it for the last 4 years.
if our government's making promises to other people, to other refugees, then let's be honest about it, but stop with these ridiculous platitudes because they don't actually mean anything unless there's substance behind it.
Like, what are the promises that our government makes to the American public? So 70,000 people die of drug ODs. The FDA made that possible by approving all this poison into rural America. Was that a violation of a promise that our government made us? I mean, what are we guaranteed by the U.S. government? Any idea?
Yeah, exactly. The Constitution really is a compact between our government and our citizens about what the government owes us. And just think about these ridiculous politicians. Unfortunately, too many Republicans who say things like, well, we want all of these Afghan refugees in our neighborhood. I mean, who really believes that? You cited the Pew Research poll. Another finding from that poll suggests that 40% of Afghan refugees, 40% of Afghans believe that suicide bombing is a reasonable way to solve a problem. Who wants people like that in their community? Of course, 60% of Afghans don't believe that, but when you're not vetting people properly, you're going to get a lot of bad people in your communities. So let's just be honest about the fact that if we want to have a real country, we need to make sure that good people are coming into this country. There are ways to help the Afghans who really did help our military without sending tens of thousands of unvetted people into our country. And the fact that our politicians aren't honest about that trade-off suggests they're either hiding something or they're just stupid. Either way, it's not very good.
I think J.D. Vance was right then, and he 100% right, bro. Look at all of this bullshit. It's 4 years ago, so they already seen this coming, bro. They already seen this coming. It's not shocking, bro. I talked about this the other day. Now we're gonna get to this fraud shit because it's just one thing after another. Every day it's something new that you find it out about these people and how much they just be robbing us. And we wonder why gas is high, your rent is high, everything is high. Because on top of all of the normal day-to-day shit that has to go on in America, these people are behind the scenes ripping the life out of America and just giving it away. Shit is crazy. Let's get into this, though. This joint is crazy.
Thank you all for joining us today as we announce the largest coordinated healthcare fraud takedown in the history of the Department of Justice. We are announcing today charges against 324 defendants.
Goddamn.
For their alleged participation in healthcare fraud schemes involving approximately $14.6 billion in false claims submitted to Medicare, Medicaid, and other healthcare programs. This enforcement action involves the seizure of cash, as well as luxury vehicles and properties, returning real money to American taxpayers and to our government healthcare programs. We are seeing a disturbing trend of transnational criminal organizations engaging in increasingly sophisticated and complex criminal schemes that defraud the American healthcare system. As part of this takedown, we've identified and charged defendants.
Not the healthcare system that the Democrats is trying to give us. Not the one they said is the best thing for us. Bro, these people are thieves. God damn, bro. All 324 people in the government robbing the shit.
And it's operating from Russia, Eastern Europe, Pakistan, and other foreign countries. These individuals have infiltrated our healthcare system to steal American taxpayer dollars. As just one example, we dismantled a scheme involving a sophisticated operation run from Russia and Eastern Europe that strategically bought dozens of medical supply companies.
So this is scammers.
In the United States and submitted more than $10 billion in fraudulent healthcare claims to Medicare. To make matters worse, these perpetrators used the stolen identities of more than 1 million.
Look how, how are they able to do this? How is these people able to do this? Steal identities, all types of shit. How? Come on, bro. How are they able to do this, bro? Ain't we supposed to have the best of the best of the best of
Americans spanning all 50 states to perpetrate this scheme and submit these false claims. But I'm pleased to report that federal agents intercepted and arrested key members of that organization at U.S. airports and the U.S.-Mexico border, cutting off their intended escape routes. This takedown resulted in criminal charges against 74 defendants, including medical professionals who fueled America's deadly opioid crisis for personal profit. These are not isolated instances of poor judgment. These are calculated schemes designed to exploit Americans struggling with addiction while enriching the very people who were duty-bound to help them heal. We charged pill mill operators who prescribed unnecessary opioids. We dismantled networks of corrupt pharmacies that existed solely to distribute drugs to addicts and dealers, feeding the addiction crisis that has devastated so many American communities.
Holy frickin' moly. 324 defendants, 500 federal districts, 12 state attorney generals, transnational networks, a massive operation stealing billions of dollars with stolen identities and phantom equipment, and of course all of it on the backs of taxpayers. These people have essentially used the moral cover of healthcare to loot the treasury blind. And you know what, just saying that sentence out loud, the first thing that comes to mind is the Democrat modus operandi. My healthcare, we must protect healthcare. Everybody needs healthcare. Healthcare's a right? All of these, narratives, these emotional manipulations to pull at your heartstrings. Meanwhile, they just want the massive cash flow. They just want to be skimming off the frickin' top. And it's crazy because in the court.
And I keep saying this. This is why they're mad, bruh. This is why they're trying every trick in the book. This is why they put roadblocks everywhere they can. They're upset. They're so mad at Donald J. Trump for taking back your money and putting it in the bank. they mad that they ain't just letting, that Donald Trump just ain't letting them walk right on in and stealing your bread. And this is why it's so much more shit going on and they getting caught. Bruh. You're going to hear so much more of this, bro. Just think about it. You had Elon Musk come in with Doge. He found so much stuff that was going on. And then you still are hearing time and time again people defrauding the government in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's here, abroad, you got people in India defrauding people all the time. Oh my God. Only in America.
Corporate world, this stuff would be identified quickly, the people would be held to the fullest extent of the law, and no one would bat an eye. But for some reason, there's this notion that in government, just kind of part of the system. Like Jamie Raskin told us about crime. It's just part of the American way of life.
Crime has always been part of our history.
It's almost as if there's just been this normalization of government corruption. People have been brainwashed to think that it's perfectly normal or it's just part of the system. What can you do? And the good outweighs the bad. But for me, honestly, I think it's even more unacceptable than fraud and theft that's happening in the private sector. We're talking about money that American citizens in good faith have given to the government to be spent on important programs, to be spent on taking...
More importantly, for Americans, for us. All you hear, bro, all you have been hearing for the last 4 years, when Joe Biden was in office, is giving more money to Ukraine, billions of dollars, Ukraine. All of these illegal immigrants getting healthcare, SNAP benefits, housing, they getting laid up in hotels. It's just one thing after another. So they were taking all these resources, pouring all of these billions of dollars into all of these different things. Then on top of that, all these foreign projects, programs, through NGOs, all types of stuff, bro. You know what I mean? That's going on. People doing individual scams, getting caught, mortgage fraud. God damn. I guess when you're dealing with this type of money, you just can't help yourself.
Taking care of the most vulnerable and the people who need it. And then to sit there and watch this money disappear into a black hole of scams and fake billing, billions of dollars. It's just frankly disgusting. And I think honestly, there ought to be a new legal category for this kind of thing. It's one of the highest levels of betrayal, of frankly taxpayer treason that I could imagine. I think people who are caught engaging in these kinds of taxpayer-funded scams, their lives should be dismantled and destroyed. Prison for life. If the numbers are in the hundreds of thousands, maybe even freaking tens of thousands. In my view, this kind of corruption, theft of the taxpayer, is one of the ugliest things that you can do. It is a betrayal. It is treason against your nation and its people. And really what it comes down to is the entire social contract. There ought to be some respect there. There ought to be some standards and transparency enforced. But of course, for some reason, according to the Democrats, any such notion is offensive. Why is that? Why are Democrats working so tirelessly to protect the waste, the fraud, and the abuse instead of protecting the taxpayer? And engaging in this behavior as they're screaming that you're just attacking healthcare, you're attacking the vulnerable. I think the people who are interested in these kinds of topics, the people who voted for the Doge mandate, they're attacking the theft, the fraud. They're attacking the model that clearly invites massive levels of abuse. And so it seems now as if two clearly defined sides have been created here. You've got people who say, hey, let's audit, let's claw back, let's redesign the incentives so this stuff doesn't happen. Let's create transparency in the system. Frankly, in my view, I think government spending should all be happening on a publicly available ledger, a log, unless it's maybe like national security spending. Everything should be transparent. Every dollar should be traceable. And in a lot of ways, that's what people are asking for. You've got one side that wants to identify the fraud and fix the problem, and then you've got the other side that recoils in disgust if you even mention it. They're not defending the people. They're defending the status quo. They're defending their taxpayer rackets. The cash flows that goes directly into their offshore frickin' bank accounts. But anyways, it seems Democrats have once again played themselves. They started this government shutdown to create a new political talking point, the Republican healthcare crisis, but all they have done is expose their healthcare crisis. And now the second element, further findings revealing that it's less of a healthcare crisis and more of just a massive government fraud and ineptitude crisis. The whole frickin' thing, the whole racket is being exposed. And of course, Democrats have only themselves to blame for highlighting this as the national conversation. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you.
Yeah, man. Shout out the Liberal High Mind. Always giving the latest and the greatest. Hey, yo. Listen, man. Been saying it. I've been saying it. They just want to rob us. That's all they mad about, bro. They mad, obviously, because they not in power. So they, of course, number one, they're going to try to do any and everything to get back in power. And they feel as though Trump is the Republican Party. And basically, anybody that aligns with Trump or even looks like they are remotely going to be, passed the baton by Trump, they're going after him. But the problem that they have is that they don't have nobody to go against a J.D. Vance, because we know J.D. Vance is going to run. They don't have nobody. Who is going to run with J.D. Vance? J.D. Vance, slick talking, knows how to talk, actually has a moderate upbringing, if not poor upbringing. You know what I mean? Really made it out from nothing. Yo. That's what they're worried about, bro. And they know they're losing on all these issues. That's why I said, bro, the best thing for Democrats to do, honestly, if they were smart, in my opinion, I would team up with Trump. I would be buddies with Trump. I would try to get some things done because they're so far gone, they're so far removed from what's normal that the average person is just sitting back like, bro, I can't vote for this, bro. So they better off just aligning with Trump, trying to get back to the center a little bit, and hopefully you can get somebody to step up and be normal. Because I'm telling you, Gavin Newsom not going to win, bro. I'm sorry. He's not winning. I'm sorry. Nobody's voting for Gavin Newsom against anybody, especially J.D. Vance. Jasmine Crockett, done. So if you take them two out, which they've been kind of screaming, them two for real, as far as like leadership positions. Oh, Mom Donnie. I don't know. He might fuck. Who knows, man? All I know is they ain't winning on no issue against Trump. And all you see that's happening is Trump is just exposing how much more the government has been robbing us for decades. And this is the reasons why we're at where we're at today, with affordability, rent, prices, all the stuff that's going on. It's not because of Trump. Trump just got in. Trump trying to fix this stuff. And all they're doing is putting in roadblocks. Got legacy media bitching on every single day, every news cycle, talking about how whatever Trump is doing is against democracy, is not constitutional. He doesn't follow the Constitution. Yo, shit need to change, bro. Because what they going to do? What's going to happen? That's my thing. If more of these situations happen, like what happened in Washington with the 2 National Guardsmen, what's going to happen if these things like this keep on happening? Is that the goal? I don't know. But just don't know with these people, bro. Scary times in America, but man, we just gotta just keep the conversation going, man. But listen, man, it's a short show today. 53 minutes locked in. Appreciate everybody for locking in with me, man. Definitely had most of y'all been here the whole time. I really appreciate it. Make sure y'all like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. It's your boy SL550. This is the Never Gonna Lose Again podcast. Until next time, I'm out.
Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams. I know niggas who played ball and gave it up for lean.
Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams, but my account in overdraft, I'm about to scream.
Rich man greed,
a poor man prayers.
Every man bleeds,
but look how God made us.
Too many losses, it's only right that we win. Yeah, I made a promise I'm never gonna lose again.